impromptu match ends up being on the card where Booker T tells Dolph Ziggler to shut up when he's doing a promo and says that there's somebody that can shut him up for him and do everything that Dolph Ziggler says he can do. Kofi Kingston, who right afterward loses the match. So obviously Booker's wrong. But what annoyed me about this and what made me happy about it. First off, what annoyed me, these guys deserved better. And what made me happy, at least these guys got on the card. Wade Barrett didn't get on the card, period. So
no, it's not surprising. The company hates him.
So
Braden is conspiracy theories about the fact that the company does not want to push British wrestlers.
So it was a filler match, and it really felt like it was something on Raw. But I'm sure they didn't give it much thought other than that too, because they are doing this thing with Dolph Ziggler. I just don't get it where. And you know what? They actually do this with everybody with Money in the Bank, it seems, lately. I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but it seems to me
they lose a lot and then they just cash in out of the blue.
Yeah, that they
yo-yo. Bank winners. They do it with everyone that they're getting ready to push. They put them on a huge losing streak right before they catapult them into that main event status.
Which makes absolutely
it's completely
no sense.
Backwards from the way you're supposed to put people.
Yeah, it really is annoying, and they really need to stop doing it, because whenever somebody cashes in the Money in the Bank and all that, then everybody goes, oh, what the hell, they've just been losing all these matches. They don't look credible, and that devalues the championship, and then we have to build it all back up again and all that. But Ziggler, he deserved a lot more for this. I personally think he deserved to cash in and do all that kind of stuff, but they apparently thought it was good enough to have him in a Raw match against Kofi Kingston, who Kofi as well. Kofi deserves more than this. He had that good Intercontinental title reign. They had him drop it at the end of the year, and then they've used him for jack shit ever since then.
Yeah, they always do it with Kofi.
Yeah,
it's just
they usually call him up
when
he needs to step up. They usually get him to step up. When it's his time to job, he just jobs.
Which is a shame, because he should be used for a lot more than that. I think he could be a really, really good Rey Mysterio face for now, meaning upper mid card, or wins mid card titles mainly. But if you need him in that extra underdog spot for a heel world title challenger, you can put him in there.
Yeah,
but they don't use him like that, and that's wrong, because he certainly deserves a lot more than he's given. And Ziggler, on top of that, he's a guy that they're getting ready to push to a world title soon. You think he'd be doing something really important at the pay-per-view before fucking WrestleMania.
Right.
You think he'd be doing something to continue. I think they're putting him in a program with Jericho. I mean, the entire undercard for the pay-per-view is totally a mystery at this point.
Yeah.
But this match just shows why I hate impromptu matches at pay-per-view. They just scream filler. They just scream, go take a shit, go take a piss. This is not important. This is what you'd see on Raw. Maybe you'll see it again tomorrow. I hate unannounced matches just as much as I hate Divas matches. They're both useless.
I like an unannounced match as long as it has some purpose to it. Like if
Which most of the time they don't.
Right, most of the time they don't. But if they do kind of a impromptu a twist or something like that, then
I remember I went to No Way Out last year, and they had an impromptu Four Corners tag team match where the winner became number one contender. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
and that was also the same match where AW turned his back on Primo and Epico and joined up with the Primetime Players. So that was huge.
That was awesome. I absolutely loved that. I remember that actually being one of the high points of that
pay-per-view. Yeah, it was an impromptu match. Oh man, that just goes to show how horrible No Way Out was, wasn't it?
It was only awful
nothing
because
else
it was
stand out from that pay-per-view except for the fucking match that wasn't even announced before the show went on the air. Oh.
Yeah, a match like Dolph and Kofi, since it wasn't announced ahead of time, even if it would have been announced ahead of time, it wouldn't have had any real build to it or anything, and that's just disappointing to me. For two guys too that are such great performers as well. I mean,
two guys who deserve a lot more thrown into just to kill breaks between the co-main event and the actual main event of the show. Whatever.
It's another example of a duo that I think I don't know. See, you can argue for and against the point that I'm about to make, but I keep saying that I don't think Kane and Daniel Bryan should have been in the Elimination Chamber match, and that you should have had some kind of a tag team title defense or something like that, where you could have thrown in either Antonio Cesaro and The Miz, or you could have thrown in Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler. Now, you can make the argument that the Hell No thing is much bigger than those two, but at the same time, to me, I probably would rather have two people like that in the chamber match having a good fun back and forth and really not go anywhere than to have Hell No thing, because really all the Hell No storyline right now is just waiting until they break up. So it's just a stall.
And it's the ending of the course of their storyline.
Right. So if that's a stall, just as much as Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston is an impromptu filler match, I'd rather just have a stall tag team match and have Dolph and Kofi as filler in the Elimination Chamber. But then again, that's me. So,
and as I said, what they went with for the number one contenders match are people who were world heavyweight champions before.
Right.
Everybody who competed in that chamber won the title at least once. They were all former world heavyweight champions in that match.
Right. So your mileage may vary when it comes to what I just threw out there.
Yeah. And I think Bryan really helped the match a lot, especially in the beginning. I think he's one of the unsung, great performers of the match, even though he was the first one eliminated. But tomato, people have different opinions. So
right.
Then we get stuff like this where we all think, what a waste of time.
Anybody have anything particularly positive or negative to say about Ziggler and Kofi?
They got him on the pay-per-view.
That's the best way you could look at it.
I'd say, they got them on the pay-per-view, but I'd rather they weren't on the pay-per-view. If you're not going to book it properly, there's no point in having it on there.
It just thinks Vader Man seems to have a plan for WrestleMania at this point.
Well, the thing is, they needed to pull the trigger on Ziggler, and I don't know what they're stalling on at all. So, but
his size.
That's my issue. And I
don't think it's more of a size.
But it wasn't amazing.
I think it's more of a just, do they trust him enough on the mic, or charismatically? I know he's more charismatic than Swagger, for sure, by like a lot. But is it because of any sort of issues with his character? It could be more than just his size. I mean, size has mattered less over the years.
It's all about timing. They didn't do it on Elimination Chamber because most people did not care about this pay-per-view. The main event was a rematch where we knew what the result was going to be.
Well, we'll get to that pretty soon.
It's people were not buying this pay-per-view en masse. The pay-per-view that people are going to be buying en masse is WrestleMania.
And I believe that is where Ziggler will become World Heavyweight Champion.
I hope so.
And nowhere in grander fashion to cash in your Money in the Bank. I believe he'd be the first to do so at the big event, too, which makes it an even bigger occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us into the next part, which is going to be relatively fast, I would assume, and that's the Divas Championship.